Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's largest platform for entrepreneurs anywhere in the country. If it matters to you, we've got it covered right here on the show, and we have quite some experience doing just that over the past 9 years, addressing anything that is top of mind to you, the entrepreneur. Today, on this very exclusive digital masterclass, we are talking about the post-budget analysis, and not just the post-budget analysis, but budget plus. Now that you, the entrepreneur, have had the time to really analyze some of the announcements that the finance minister made on the 1st of February, what does it mean to you, and what does it mean as you're preparing for growth? To answer that, I have a very special panel who's joining us. Let me first introduce Dr. A. Velumani, Chairman and MD at Thyrocare. Manik Dawar, Chairman, Services Export Promotion Council. He's also Chairman at Spenta Multimedia. And Chandrakant Salunke, Founder and President, SME Chambers of India. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I want to first discuss what perhaps, according to the three of you, was that one headline that you were hoping to see from Nirmala Sitharaman's announcement, and whether you were happy or whether you were hoping to really hear more from the FM. Let me come to you first, Dr. Velumani.
It's a good start. It was a year hit by pandemic. A lot of healthcare damages have been seen. Shortcomings have been seen. A lot of learnings have been there. So if you look at the kind of announcement, it's a 137% increase in the outlay for healthcare specifically. I will be talking only for healthcare. It's a good quantum to see on the board. But what worries is a hinting that by year 2025, we might reach a 2.5% of GDP. I wish we reach a 5% of GDP by 2025. So in short, this is much better than what was expected for this year. I only wish the finance minister keeps priority for healthcare, not in this year alone because of the COVID panic. It needs attention. There are a lot more to be done. So overall, happy in the sense it's more than enough, but ye dil mange more. We need more.
Absolutely. And the finance minister saying this is a budget for health, hope, growth. At least a few of those for small businesses we're hoping to see over the course of 2021. Mr. Dawar, how about you?
Well, let me first say that I represent services and specifically the services export sector.
Yeah.
For many, many years, the budgetary exercise has always been about what is in it for me. And the expectations have been very individual and very personal. Whether you are in, you're a salary earner, whether you're in industry, you first look at what is the budget and what does it have for me specifically. I think this is the first time that we are looking at the budget and we are thinking what is in it for the country. And what is it that the finance minister has put together as far as the growth of this country is concerned? And that is a very, very positive takeaway from this budget. The other thing which is also very important is that the holy shibboleth of fiscal deficit, we have addressed that.
Sure.
And there is a very clear feeling that the growth in infrastructure, the overall growth will take care of the fiscal deficit. And the fiscal deficit is not a holy ghost that we have to sort of worry about.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, I think, and more that you sort of think about it on a macro level, I think this is a budget which is meant to take us forward to the 5 trillion economy, and also must give credit to the government that they have not shied away from coming out with projects, with proposals popular or unpopular, and they have not been cowed down by the challenges of COVID. They have not sort of, curtailed expenditure. They have been extremely bold in this. And Dr. Lumani said that, more investment in healthcare. The same way there is more investment in every part of infrastructure of this country, both in terms of social and physical infrastructure.
Sure, absolutely. Mr. Salunke, let me also give you the chance to give us your opening comments.
This is a very unique year, particularly after the pandemic. You look at the 1991 when Dr. Manmohan Singh has presented his budget, and he has realized and he has made realize to Indians that we have to compete with the world marketing during this globalization, and with the globalization started. Now the time has come again the different way. After the pandemic, other world market is sliding, declining growth, and this is a good chance for the Indian companies as well as India particularly to expand their wings in a different sector. 1991 to 2021. It's a huge gap, but this is the right time to India now to grow more and with a specific point and a specific level.
Mr. Salunke, the fact that the outlay for MSMEs and SMEs being doubled, were you happy to see that you work so closely with small businesses, representing their interests? What are they really telling you? Are they hopeful that that will present opportunities? And if yes, where are those specific opportunities?
Frankly speaking, this 15,700 crore is not a big amount. Rather, I was expecting 45,000 crore amount to be allocated for the MSME sector, particularly empowerment level and the different level. One is a technology level, second, the taxation level, and third is the most important is support for marketing and branding of Indian products in the international market. Because we are facing a lot problem while achieving target growth in the international market. Look at the exports, where when we say the 45% is the export contributed by MSME sector, but why not it can be go at 75%? Because we are the manufacturer and we are supplying to large corporate, and large corporate is supplying to the world market. So why not SME sector can achieve that market? And another very interesting point now, the cost of the funding in India is very high. The government should look at the reduction of the interest rate, particularly to compete with the world market. And another very interesting point is level playing field. Still, ease of doing business has not taken care by the government and state governments. So this is one point. Or rather, this allocation must be, or provision must be more than 45,000 crore. But nevertheless, we have started and we are looking for more provisions and we are approaching the minister of that.
Sure. Dr. Velumani, this budget, of course, focused a lot on small businesses. So that was good news in some sense. At least the intention was definitely there. It also, of course, focused on health and healthcare. Now, I do know that you started today's masterclass by saying you're hoping that the allocation as far as GDP is concerned goes up to 5%, not just 2.5%. But my question to you is, if it were to go up to 5%, if the government was to announce that, or even at 2.5%, what are the opportunities for someone who is watching today that you would like to tell them that, this is what is going to be opened up in 2021? What would you want to tell them?
Overall, if you look at, we have been blessed. India is blessed, I keep telling. It was a testing year for the entire world. So was for the country, specifically for healthcare. Billions of dollars have gone in creating awareness of what is body, what is antibody. So a lot of fear-driven, a lot of panic-driven, and a lot of prioritized creation of healthcare awareness has been done without any specific budget throughout the year, throughout the country by all media and social media. Fortunate for us, September was 1,200 per day. We did not know will it go up, will we be ending up the year happily, but it looks like as of today, it is double digits per day, which means we are through with that and there appear to be not a second wave. So India is again blessed. Coming to specifically to your question, healthcare is, except hospitals, healthcare is not highly capex driven business and you don't have to truly look for a lot of government subsidies funds. Awareness is very, very important because consumption will increase, consumption will make sure the balance sheet becomes better.
Sure.
But having said that, are we prepared for a higher growth? Is that enough resources available? Are we skilling them adequately? Is the government spending only spending or investing? This amount is too good if it is invested. This amount is too little if it is expended. And let me also tell you, there appear to be a fairly big 35,000 crore for vaccination, and there are not people queuing in for vaccination. I have a reason to believe we will save a lot of money in vaccination, and we will be putting a lot more into the core healthcare, not just COVID. There are a lot many other diseases waiting. In my personal opinion, in healthcare today, entrepreneurs find a better opportunity than what they saw earlier. And personally, I see a lot of interest in people already in business and wanting to be in business, all having healthcare as an eye. Beware, there will be more competition, but be sure that there are a lot of opportunities.
My question is, how can this mismatch, if I can call it that, really, in terms of attention being paid to the services space, especially exports, how can that be fixed? One or two things that you are hoping to see, particularly given your conversations with the government.
See, firstly, there is a question of incentives for the services sector. Services sector contributes about 2/3 to the total overall services exports. Also, one thing I must say that the services, the export import, we are net service exporters, whether that is not so in the case of merchandise exports. So we need to have a system of incentives as far as service exporters is concerned. And we have just submitted to the government our proposal in the new foreign trade policy of how service exporters should be benefited. Just to give you an example, for the last available figures, the export incentives given to the manufacturing sector was somewhere around 46,000 crores. And the incentives given to services sector was about 4,000 crores.
Mohan Kumar commenting on the budget, saying, the FMA has said growth, etc. We don't know about hope, but as we are preparing for growth and, they're hopeful of growth really coming back for small businesses, to this team of experts, to our panel of experts, what are the top 3 or 4 things that they would recommend small businesses should put in place urgently as we're preparing for growth? So a question from Mohan Kumar. Let me open it out to the 3 of you. Mr. Salunki, maybe if I could address it to you first.
See, the point is, after this budget, allocation provisions are made by the government. Now the point is, the MSME sector should learn about what are the sector, what are the segment they are from, and what are the benefits they can avail from the sector. Let us take a particularly for the pharma industry now. Okay, India is a pharmacy of the world, and there are 50,000 MSMEs are working in a pharmaceutical sector. They are supplying to pharmaceutical sector. They are from the packaging, they are from the plastic, they are from wood, they are from the glass, and they are from the different engineering sector. So not only just pharma sector is only growing, but in the other sector is also growing to that. So what are the production link incentives made by available by the government? That also MSME should keep a track. Other, we are doing a lot of awareness program, and this is the right time to understand, because the budget allocations have started, and it will be available from the 1st April to enjoy the facility. So this is the right time to next 1 month time. MSME should learn about what is the facility, what is the advantages, what is the scheme, and incentives available made by them.
Okay, Dr. Velapalli?
Yeah, suddenly there is a challenge in healthcare. In the last 1 year, I have personally observed government is truly contributing too big in terms of healthcare, especially COVID diagnosis and treatment. It is a surprise. I would have expected their contribution to be around 30% compared to private, but it is in fact much more by government than even private. But in a free environment, in a non-pandemic environment, in healthcare, a lot of opportunities as long as you focus Either you focus on diseases or you focus on disorders. These are two different. Diseases come and go, disorders come and they don't go. Focus on prevention, you can save a lot. Focus on management, there are plenty of chronic illnesses which requires a long-term management. So acute illness or the chronic illness also is an option to choose. Of course, pharma needs huge capex, huge preparations, huge timelines. Hospitals also needs huge infrastructure, but I must tell you, diagnosis is a field you will enjoy a lot. And even related, healthcare related, hygiene related, lot of things. Today, man is very worried about his health, what he touches, what he is happening to meet people, get exposed. Everywhere he is worried about infection.
Sure.
Having said that, let me tell my punchline. In healthcare, there are only three kinds of entrepreneurs. One who make money, other who makes a lot of money, and the third one makes a hell of money. Get in there, a lot is there.
We are talking of a 5 trillion economy. So one thing we really need to do is to improve the perception of services. MSME is nothing to do with manufacturing. MSME has to do with the amount of turnover that each company has. So even in the services sector, any company which comes under the definition of an MSME is also there in the services sector. You see, this is the point which I'm trying to make, and this is a sort of, we will have to educate everyone on this issue. When you talk of the MSME, it is not just the manufacturing sector, because the first thing which comes to you in MSME is small factories, small manufacturers, No, these are small businesses. A chartered accountancy firm can be an MSME. A legal firm can be an MSME. An architecture firm can be an MSME. They fall under the definition of MSME. That is the point which I also wants to make. But I think this is important that people must start thinking, not just the government, but everybody must start thinking that if we have to grow to a certain level, the impetus has to be everywhere, agriculture, industry, and services.
Okay. So in terms of opportunities, sir, what would you want for an entrepreneur to keep their eye on in 2021 if you're talking growth?
If you ask me, each entrepreneur has a challenge as far as growth is concerned, and it depends on the industry that he is in. For example, if you are in the healthcare industry, as Dr. Velumani is, and as he said, that you either make some money, a lot of money, or a hell of a lot of money. Or the pandemic was such that healthcare was absolutely on the top of everyone's minds. But there are a lot of businesses, like take for example, the entire hospitality business, the restaurant business, to give you a very simple example. It is going to take a lot of time to come back. One thing which has happened as part of the pandemic is that everyone in a sense has redefined their businesses, has cut costs, have managed somehow to reduce. But that reduction has also been at the cost of labor. Sure. The reduction also has been at the cost of labor. So the thing is that I know that people are saying that there is now going to be a V-shaped recovery. And yes, we are seeing the green shoots. We are seeing improvement. And certainly we will come back to 10.5% and 11% growth. But the pain of the pandemic is going to be apparent once your 2021 results start coming out after April of this year.
All right. Definitely something for them to keep their eye on. This question open to Dr. Velumani and Mr. Salunke. And I want to talk digitization very quickly because we are talking budget plus. Digitization, if you were to talk to MSMEs, research showing that only 60% of small businesses in the country today have any sort of, whether it's a website, whether any form of exposure as far as digital and technology is concerned. How can that challenge be fixed? Dr. Velumani, if you can take that on first.
Yeah, this COVID has made us to understand very clearly those who did not have more digital side of the business have collapsed more, and those who were more of IT driven have done it better. Be it medtech, be it fintech, be it edutech, everywhere we see the guys with the digital edge have done fairly well while the rest have collapsed. Going forward, a lot of efficiencies could be improved, a lot of costs can be brought down, balance sheet can be improved. Depends upon how fast, how much, how effective you are getting into digital aspect of your business. All businesses cannot or probably will not be able to transform as much as they wish. But I'm pretty sure those who could manage to do it would see a better tomorrow post-COVID.
Okay, Mr. Salunke?
See, digitalization and making them aware about what are the facility, what are the advantages available. Looking at the current scenario from the April onwards, every entrepreneur is doing business from home. So work from home and doing business from home, this is now a different segment. Coming back to the point, you look at the development happen in various platforms like Microsoft, even WebEx, Zoom, Blue Jeans, and many platforms has come up. And during the time, a lot of value addition services, new softwares, new concepts, new advantage, new platforms are another. And this is the right time to entrepreneurs to adopt the advanced technology, not only in the productivity or business activity, but to provide services. Since Mr. Dawar is talking about the service sector, this is the right time because you have to be alert. You have to be on a toes every time.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time on that note. We've run out of time here on the Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass. What perhaps are some of the skills entrepreneurs should necessarily have in 2021 as the way we work has changed?
Educated, becoming employable is a big challenge. Everybody wants somebody with skills, not somebody with just qualifications.
You see, skill development is not necessarily only the government's job. It is also a job as far as the private sector is concerned to create their own workforce.
During this pandemic, we learned that we want the skilled and techno-savvy manpower. Then only we can able to to produce quality product or to deliver quality service.
Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's largest platform for entrepreneurs anywhere in the country. If it matters to you, we've got it covered right here on the show, and we have quite some experience doing just that over the past 9 years, addressing anything that is top of mind to you, the entrepreneur. Today, on this very exclusive digital masterclass, we are talking about the post-budget analysis, and not just the post-budget analysis, but budget plus. Now that you, the entrepreneur, have had the time to really analyze some of the announcements that the finance minister made on the 1st of February, what does it mean to you, and what does it mean as you're preparing for growth? To answer that, I have a very special panel who's joining us today. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Let me first introduce Dr. A. Velumani, Chairman and MD at Thyrocare. We also have Manik Dawar, Chairman, Services Export Promotion Council. He's also Chairman at Spenta Multimedia. And we have Chandrakant Salunke, Founder and President, SME Chambers of India.
It's a 137% increase in the outlay for healthcare specifically. I wish we reach a 5% of GDP by 2025.
I was expecting 45,000 crore amount to be allocated for the MSME sector, particularly empowerment level and the different level.
On a macro level, I think this is a budget which is meant to take us forward to the 5 trillion economy.
Not more than 4% of MSMEs have access to any formal lines of credit. On one hand, of course, you have a lot of innovation that's happening in the fintech space. And on the other hand, the government is giving more and more schemes when it comes to small businesses and loans for small businesses. But we also have NPAs, which have spiked to about 12.8% versus 11.5%. That's on a Y-on-Y basis mid of last year. How can this situation then be rectified? Mr. Salunki, to you first.
See, first of all, we have to look at the banking role, the financial institution role. 2019 to 20th March, there are 5.43% the growth, and from the April to now December is a decline growth for the lending towards MSME sector, and the NPA is become now 12%. The point is, why NPA is becoming, because trade receivable from the large corporate is not coming on a time. But therefore, there is a trades platform, but most of the MSMEs are not listing there, and mostly the large corporate are not encouraging the MSMEs to list on there because they want to delay for the payment. But I would like to suggest the MSMEs or any enterprises that you look at your cash flow, because current scenarios are about the cash flow business. How much cash flow you are generating depend on that. You can start enrolling, you can start enjoying any facility. But banks are there, but the point is banks are not achieving the target for the MSME sector. Even the priority sector lending available for 28% for MSME, including agriculture. But people talk, the government talk about agriculture, banking talk about agriculture, but they are not focusing on the MSME sector. So this is a ping point for the banking sector.
Sure. Dr. Velumani, just very broadly, as far as NPA is concerned, anything that you want to address?
I must tell you, this is a very transition stage and a transition phase, not a steady state phase. Suddenly everything collapsed, and the guys who were only, receiving from the receivables, paying to the payables have collapsed because receivables stopped. So it's a very, very unfortunate situation, especially for those who did not have any reserves to survive. So year 2020, they would love to forget, and it will take at least another 6 months to 1 year time to understand to what quantum actually is the NPA and how much is impossible to manage and how much is manageable. It's very difficult to tell in the February month. We may be able to tell in the December 2021.
May I come in here?
Sure, sir. Go ahead.
See, I have another take as far as the NPAs are concerned. And I don't think that we have actually come to the realization of how serious the problem can be. Quite a few of the loans which have been given to organizations, including MSMEs, are working capital. Working capital typically is predicated on your turnover and also on the amount of money which is out in the market, which the amount of debtors that you have. The whole idea of working capital is to ensure that the debt which you have, which of course is all realizable, does not hold up your operation. Now, what is going to happen, and now also that there are RBI norms on how much working capital can be given against what sort of revenue and what sort of receivables. Typically, 3 months receivables up to 3 months are considered good debts, and up to that amount you can get money from the banks as your working capital loan. Now, what will happen in April 21 once the results for 2020-21 are sort of announced by MSMEs? You will find that there is, in most cases, like again to go back to areas like hotels, for example, you will find that there is no revenue. The revenue has not been there. I mean, businesses may have about 50% of the overall revenues. Okay. Now, when you have that, you will find that your receivables have been reduced. And if the banks put RBI norms on it, it will mean that suppose today, if you have 10 crores of rupees as outstanding on working capital, but according to RBI, you are entitled to only about 5 crores based on your figures for 21. The banks may ask you to return that 5 crores of rupees to the banks. They may make a demand on you. If they do that, your business is going to collapse. So I think the government has to give some amount of leeway here, has got to understand this, and has got to say that as long as there is a capacity to pay the interest on the outstanding working capital, that working capital, A, should not be declared NPA, and the firms should not be made to repay the working capital. They can continue to reduce the working capital in a very phased manner so that the business does not become sick.
Sure. Mr. Salunke, do you want to respond to that? Also, given that the RBI last year, we had heard that commentary on the moratorium of 90 days being extended. Are you hopeful to see some relaxation when it comes to NPAs and the stress really there?
think rather government should bring the pressure on the RBI currently, because they should enhance the limit from the 31st March to at least December 2021, because the MSMEs are now started realizing that there's a shortage of funds from January 1, because when the company restarted again, they started buying raw material from market, they started supplying, so there is a crash catch. And most of the MSMEs, or rather, last 1 month, we are interacting with them for enhancement of the limit. More than at least 16,000 MSME approach us to support them. But banks are not, so much keen to support them. But this is the right time to the bank should handhold, because now next 6 months we have to focus more on the manufacturing and exports.
All right, let's talk about skills training and skill development as well, and what skills are going to be needed for 2021 in this new normal that we're working in. There's a question coming in from Ashish Mendirata of advantage.com. Skills development, he's saying, critical for Atmanirbhar, but initiatives and incentives really haven't been successful. What is being done about that? And also, if the three of you could comment on what perhaps are some of the skills entrepreneurs should necessarily have in 2021 as the way we work has changed. Dr. Velumani, maybe to you first.
Yeah, in that way, we produce a lot of graduates. And this year, we are likely to produce more graduates digitally, because physically exams did not take place. But educated, becoming employable is a big challenge. Everybody wants somebody with skills, not somebody with just qualifications. Especially in healthcare, there is going to be a huge gap. We witness it. We need a lot more resources. In fact, in times when people are reducing the number of people working, we have doubled the number of people working. And I'm pretty sure entire healthcare industry would be doing that. So I see a lot of opportunities for those who are involved in skilling. Doesn't need too big money, it needs a fairly good program. So I don't see any budgetary limitations, I don't see any priority limitations. It is all how do you focus and create resources. Industry, especially healthcare industry, even hospitality industry, all industries, all services industries, all manufacturing industries would need more manpower with extra skills. Please focus.
Okay, Mr. Dawar, do you also want to take on that question?
Yes. You see, skill development is not necessarily only the government's job.
Okay.
It is also a job, as far as the private sector is concerned, to create their own workforce which they require to fuel their industry. So the whole idea of one sort of pillar of this budget, and which government has kept on saying that for quite some time, less government and more governance. The government does have a skill development ministry. They have programs like the, to develop skills, especially amongst the weaker sections, and empower women specifically with certain vocational skills by which they can earn a livelihood for themselves and their families. So that part is certainly happening. But the fact today is this, that let's take the IT sector, for example. Right? What are they doing? They are taking graduates, they are taking people, and they're also having internal programs to develop these skills of their people. I mean, there's a huge, the IT industry today is one of the largest employers, and employers also of skilled people, not semi-skilled or unskilled labor. So, yes, certainly for any growing industry or any growing economy, the skill and the people are a huge requirement. And this is what we have been saying for a long time, that we have that advantage.
Next question, I would presume, is being directed to Dr. Velumani, coming in to us from Shivani, Faculty of Management Studies, University of Delhi, and she's a research scholar. She wants to know about the presence of and the potential really for participation of public-private partnerships in healthcare. So PPP essentially in healthcare, challenges that one could witness if you're looking at that, and what do you do to really overcome that? Dr. Velumani?
Yeah, until 3 years back, it looked like 90% of the healthcare will be done only by private, and government will enable private delivering better at cheaper cost. But I think the arrival of Atmanirbhar, not before that, the arrival of the Ayushman Bharat has signaled that government is pitching in, wants to provide a cost-effective solution to the second half of the pyramid. COVID, 1 year of experience says the government is very serious to provide not just basic and primary care. The toughest test was RT-PCR, and they have done extremely good. But going forward, how much will private do? How much government will do? How much is the challenges for government to realize their dreams? All will decide what percentage of contribution will be private separate, government separate, and how much will be public-private partnerships. But overall, healthcare is going to be a very exciting area. I have a reason to believe if last 10 years, if you have grown 10-12% CAGR, next 10 years, healthcare will grow 20% CAGR. This is a positive, bold statement. Opportunities are plenty.
Mr. Salunke, I do want to come back to you also, sir, and talk really about the fact that, and I do want to discuss manufacturing. And there's so much that needs to be discussed in manufacturing. But one thing that has been in the news of late is PLI as far as the manufacturing space is concerned for MSMEs. A lot of them being polled after the budget saying they're disappointed. There was no commentary really on ensuring that the capital expenditure and the thresholds for them to participate in PLI were not being lowered. What would you like to say in terms of PLI for MSMEs and SMEs? If they were to participate in it as an opportunity, what more perhaps should have been done?
Let me give you information that to my the listeners, that currently you have to choose a techno-savvy employees, because earlier days, we used to employ the not so techno-savvy and not so understanding the technology. But now during this pandemic, we learned that we want a skilled and techno-savvy manpower. Then only we can able to to produce quality product or to deliver quality services. This is the point. Another point, they look at the pharma sector, the allocation for the provision or the allocation and provision of this project, a particular segment. This is a unique thing, because most of the rural area now, a lot of pharmaceutical industries coming up, utilizing the the raw material, utilizing the skill, rural area skill. This is a now unique concept to come up, because most of my members have started identifying the land out of the cities, because most of the migrant labor has gone their hometown and they are available from the local area. And this is a unique opportunity for the industry and particularly unemployment people, those are looking for a skilled job.
Okay, we are talking about the new way of working. We have a question coming in from Shreyas P, MD at Shreyas and Associates Private Limited, saying, I have over 250 employees working for me. A lot of my employees have now moved to their hometowns to work. What is my responsibility as a business owner to help my employees work from home? Saying disappointed that there was nothing as far as work from home, especially taxation around work from home being announced in the budget. Open to the three of you. Mr. Velumani, if you want to take that on first, sir. InstaMojo, for instance, not a few days ago has announced it's permanently now allowing its employees to work from home. A lot of companies are definitely then innovating in this space. What would you want to tell Shreyas?
Yeah, work from home is there and it is going to remain. It is not that it is just for COVID it had come. work from home has freed many square feet of office, canteen, facilities. So you will have opportunity to employ more. So there will be three kinds of segments of industries which will evolve. One, very little work from home. Another 50-50 work from home and work from office. There could be another extreme where 95% working from home and only 5% working from office. So it depends upon industry.
Sure. Mr. Davar, this is a question which is I would like to direct to you, coming to us from Chandrasekhar R from Info Consulting, not indicating what exactly the company does, but he's asking, is this the right time for me to look at the export markets at a time when everyone is focusing on the domestic markets? Should I be looking at the export markets? What would you like to tell Chandrasekhar R?
Well, I think it is very apparent from where I am to say that certainly you should be looking at the export market. And I guess that the person from the name of the company as such, I would imagine that it is in the services sector. So let us understand that the market, there are some people who are very happy with the domestic market. The international market has its own challenges, but also that its own satisfaction of reaching out to a different set of people. There are learnings from the international market which you would get. There is, and if you are an entrepreneur, you recognize no boundaries as far as your markets are concerned. There are certain industries which have to focus and are definitely focused as far as India is concerned. Like, for example, large parts of technology, right? The food service market, for example. But there is absolutely no doubt in my mind, and the government is all for improving this. Let us also understand one very important thing, and which is something which is very crucial to us. A good Indian exporter carries the name of his country forward in foreign markets. He creates the reputation, he creates the credibility of his country in a foreign market. He adds to the perception of his country.
Sure.
So exports are extremely, extremely important. And if you do have the opportunity to earn in foreign exchange, to earn more in foreign exchange, you should certainly look at every opportunity possible.
All right, I have to take closing comments, unfortunately, on today's masterclass as we're running out of time. And my question is this: budget strong on intent but low on allocation. At least that's what a certain section of experts are saying. I would like to get your takeaways to each of the experts today. Mr. Salunke, can I come to you first? What would you like to leave our audience with today?
So first of all, we are not happy with this budget because the allocation towards MSME sector must be more than 45,000 crore. Loan is not important. The facility, the incentives, and the schemes should be made available for MSME sector if we have to compete with the world market.
Sure. Mr. Dawar?
I'm extremely satisfied with the budget. Okay. It is the intent of the government, and that is it's very important. As I said, we work very closely with the Commerce Ministry on exports. And we spend, and I'm going a little bit off the exports, and I'm just talking overall of the government's approach to issues as at the present moment. And I think that is quite important. And we have interaction with the Commerce Ministry, not only services exports, but all other export organizations, which go into 3 to 4 hours at a stretch. And literally what happens is that almost every problem which an exporter comes up with is immediately resolved. The Commerce Ministry, all officials are sitting there, immediate call goes out. The intent of the government is absolutely that we have to work hard, we have to develop. We have to look at an overall picture. And the overall picture this time is extremely positive. And let us understand that this is a trend which is going to go on. This is not just a single budget. It's not going to end here. You're going to have budgets where the fiscal deficit is going to be high. you're going to have budgets where there is going to be a huge infrastructure injection, that this government does not bow down to unnecessary pressures. If it has decided that it's a good thing, it'll go ahead and will do it.
Dr. Velamani, I'll let you have the last word.
If I say it's not a good budget, it will be unfair for an industry where they have already allotted 30%. Yes, my mind says this to lage raho. Healthcare is more important. We must get it for some more time.
Sure.
Having said that, more money into healthcare means more job opportunities, more competition, more investments. A lot of things will happen. Government's budget may not be too big, but then private investors will see a great opportunity and invest a lot. But having said that, healthcare industry is largely driven by IT, HR, and logistics. It doesn't need huge money. It needs huge skilling. So take people, skill them, train them. Two words are most important: efficiency and productivity. It will be a great future if we can make use of whatever has been given.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. On that note, we've run out of time here on the Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass.